the last few weeks, the simple avocado has been at the centre of an intergenerational combat that has been dubbed Avogeddon by the media. It all started a couple of weeks ago when Bernard Salt, columnist for The Australian, wrote a column asserting that young people have difficulty affording houses because of their penchant for expensive brunches. He says in the column, "I have seen young people order smashed avocado with crumbled feta on 5-grain toasted bread at $22 a pop and more. $22 several times a week," he says, could go towards a deposit on a house. This comment has been met with a flurry of social responses from angered young Australians who believe that systemic factors such as rising house prices and unemployment rates, rather than the occasional expensive brunch, are what is to blame for young people's difficulty in accessing today's housing market. I asked some young Australian university students what their thoughts on the Avogeddon were.
So I reckon with this debate, there's really kind of two main issues here. Because firstly, I think housing is a lot more expensive than it used to be, kind of proportionate to how much we earn as young people. I mean, I'm a student, so I'm not earning anything. But it's really quite unaffordable. And I think also the attitudes have changed a bit. I reckon your average 25, 26, 27-year-old nowadays isn't really thinking of settling down and getting married and having babies as much was the case, generations ago.
My response to the avocado dilemma is to live in my parents' house and eat avocados every morning.
I think also it can come across as quite patronising for certain people to impose their views on others. As like a younger generation, a lot of people enjoy spending their time socialising, and a lot of socialising and leisure time is spent in cafes and restaurants, and that's just part of our culture these days.
So, obviously we'd all love to one day be able to be financially secure, but I think it's a lot easier said than done. And also, avocado is delicious.
I think putting the issue down to a few brunches every few months, or maybe even once a week, delegitimises the real issue of the housing crisis, and I think points blame perhaps where it's not valid.
So are the Generation Xers who stand behind Bernard Salt really right in saying that today's youth mishandle their money? Or are millennials truly victims of an inherently unfair and difficult housing market? Well, I spoke to a representative of the Real Estate Institute of Victoria to find out more.
Yeah, certainly for the current generation there are challenges entering the market at an affordable price. The housing market has increased substantially in the last 10 years, particularly for houses and even for apartments. So there are challenges entering the market. Bank lending has also been constrained in the last 3 years since the GFC. So we're seeing a need for first homeowners to accumulate a 20% deposit. In the past there wasn't that level of financial security needed to secure a loan. That has made it more difficult than it was even 5 years ago to enter the market.
So it seems that changing systemic factors have at least some role to play in the housing crisis, but have we also seen a change in the way that young people spend money?
Certainly 2 decades ago and 3 decades ago, Australians were keener to secure a home, their first home, and often they were willing to put more money towards their first home than it appears now. So there does appear to be a shift in the way people expend their income in their 20s and early 30s than there was 20 or 30 years ago.
So is entering the housing market simply out of reach for most young Australians today?
Certainly, while it's difficult to enter the market, and some people find that a challenge to get their head around actually buying into the market, it's important to make that effort and to make that sacrifice to purchase into the market. It will only increase in value. We can see within 10 years that the Melbourne median price will reach $1 million, and it's already there in Sydney. So before it reaches that point, it's important to make that purchase to get that foothold in the market. And once that first purchase is there, then subsequent purchases at a different price point can be made.
So what can young people do to increase their chance of success in their housing market, apart from cutting down on avocado brunches, of course?
So the opportunities are there. It's important to accumulate that deposit, look at the right areas to buy into, and get the right advice from local agents.